commentary going, man. Don't worry about my Google.
Yes,
You
just
don't
in
you don't
time.
worry about my Google. You worry about your Google.
Hello, y'all. Y'all caught us as we're having an argument about Google software, apparently. But welcome to the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. It is time to breathe again. And as you can tell by our argument, it is us, Patrick and me. So, Patrick, we have some another preview to go. Um, this week it is the NBA playoffs. We know, well, okay, let me check something real quick. Okay, we know 5 of the matchups because the Brooklyn Nets just beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the play-in game. So 5 of the matchups are set. 3 of them are in the East. The LA Clippers and the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to play here in a little bit, and that is your 7 versus 8 in the West. Tomorrow, I think it is Charlotte and Atlanta. They play each other in the 9-10 game, and then you have the Spurs and Pelicans going at it in the West. So for Cleveland will play the winner of the Charlotte Atlanta game, and whoever wins that game will get the 8th seed. The Nets are the 7th seed, and they will play the Boston Celtics. So, on that note, Patrick, let's start off in the Eastern Conference and talk about the series that are set in stone because the champion comes out of the Eastern Conference in the form of the Milwaukee Bucks. They are the 3 seed, and they have the Chicago Bulls they will play in the 3-6 matchup. So, Patrick, what are your thoughts on this matchup? Who wins and how many games?
Whew. Whew. This is gonna be a good game, man. It's gonna be a good series, man. There's a couple of good series, but man, this first matchup, Chicago versus Milwaukee. It's gonna be a good series. I really
Oh,
do.
wait a minute, Patrick. We have a special guest who came through. Hold on, let me welcome him in.
Who?
It is
Oh
Stan.
yeah,
What's
oh,
up?
tell me.
Stan, you made it
Dang,
through.
you didn't even tell me. Nice. What's up, Stan?
Stan,
What is
you are
up?
just in time, man. All right, so we are just about to begin our NBA
Special
playoff.
guest. Charles didn't even tell me, dude.
I didn't. I did not tell Patrick because I didn't know if Stan was gonna make it. So I just said, well, if he makes it, then I'll go ahead and tell him. But
Nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
Nice.
man.
I like it.
yeah.
What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. Things are good. Life's been busy, but good.
Good. That's what's up, man. That's what's
Man,
up.
that's what's up. Man, Stan
We'll
is
do a
here.
little catching up. Let me get like we gotta get these picks in. You know what I mean?
So Stan,
Um.
we just got started and we were on the
Okay.
Eastern Conference. The first series we were talking about is the 3-6 matchup between the Bucks and the Bulls. So Patrick, go ahead, continue what you were saying
Go
about the
ahead.
matchup, and then we'll get Stan's thoughts, and then I'll come in after.
Cool. All right. So as I was saying, man, this matchup is probably one of the best first round matchups in all the playoffs, man. I really do think so. This is going to be tough for. Let's just put it this way: I got Milwaukee, and I got Milwaukee in 6 because I really do think Chicago is going to come ready to play. I think this team plays. They're not scared of any team, and with it being a series opposed to just a one game or a 1 or 2 game in and out kind of thing, Chicago will definitely play. But I do have Milwaukee in 6.
All right, so Stan, what are your thoughts on this? Oh, before you go on, what does your
Yeah.
name say? What is that? What is the name?
Oh, EV Chief.
There we go. Okay. That's what's up.
Hey, he could have been here last week. He could have done our hashtag or our at Twitter handles.
Yeah, we had our at Twitter handles going last week.
Okay.
Yeah, go catch that one and
I'll
see
check that
those
out.
Twitter handles that we have. Yeah.
Oh man, that's what's up, man. All right, I like it, Stan, because I was so here. I was like, man, what is that word? So I feel like I should know this, but all right, man. Well, hey, Stan, what are your thoughts on the Bucks and Bulls?
Um, The Bucks and Bulls. I mean, I agree. I mean, I think I think the Bucks edge this one out. I think it's going to be a pretty close. I agree with Patrick there. I think it's going to be a close series. But I think the Bucks will prevail. I give them 6. I think they're going to go toe to toe for a little bit. But I think the Bucks going to eke out this one. Move on.
I I have the Bucks in 5. The reason why I have the Bucks in 5 is because
Okay.
the Bulls. All right, so the Bulls, they started off hot, and y'all remember DeMar DeRozan? He was like an MVP candidate for a
Mhm.
little bit. They kind of tailed off when the All-Star break start, or after the All-Star break, and they really struggled defensively. Like defensively is really bad. I mean, I guess you can say that about every team to a degree, but but the Bulls really struggle defensively. Um, I don't think they don't have an answer for Giannis. And I think Milwaukee is going to kind of pick it up on the perimeter with Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, and I think they can neutralize DeRozan and Zach LaVine. So I mean, the Bulls, they'll be able to score. I think that I mean they'll get their buckets in, and I think I can give them a game for maybe when the series heads to Chicago for games 3 and 4. But yeah, Milwaukee, I think they just kind of got too much for them, so I got them in 5 games. But hey, we all got Milwaukee. We all agree there. So hey, there we go. We'll start it off
At
on a
least we
good
all
note.
agree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
started off on a good note. That's what's
We
up.
just started.
And the games are
Yeah.
just minor details. All it
Yeah.
matters is who wins.
So, all right. Well, this series, we may differ here. We'll see. So, 5-4 matchup. You have the Philly 76ers going against the Toronto Raptors. The Raptors seem to have the Sixers number of like for a couple of years. It seems like when they meet in the regular season. Of course, it's a different ball game when we get into the playoffs. But this is a very interesting 4-5 matchup here. So, Stan, we'll start with you on this one. Who do you have coming out of this series, and how many games?
So for this one, y'all might look at me like I'm a little crazy, but I think they've been edging on this for a while. And if I go back, I said this before about them, but the 76ers, I like them. I think it's going to be a tough competition. I don't think it's going to be an easy win for them. But I don't think they're going to eke out without losing a couple, going down a couple. So I give it to them at 6, mainly because I like Joel, and I think they finally got out of their own way with some moves they made this season, and it's going to let them kind of go ahead and flourish and see what they got. I think they want to prove themselves now. So that's just me.
All right, Philly in 6. What you have, Patrick?
I agree with staying with the moves that Philly made, and honestly, I think with Ben Simmons gone, I think they finally got rid of their cancer. But with all that said, it's hard for me to go against Toronto, man. It's one of those things where you got to prove it to me in the playoffs, and to me, I mean, don't get me wrong, I want to go Philly. But I'm going Toronto, and I got Toronto in 6.
Toronto 6. All right. So this one, I actually went back and forth with this one because Toronto does match up well with Philly. They got some dudes. I mean, I like Fred VanVleet, but Pascal Siakam is playing like an all NBA player, and their draft pick, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes has been playing really good too. We know with Philly, Joel Embiid, MVP candidate. He may or may not win, I guess, depending on how you feel about Nikola Jokic for Denver. And I mean, Giannis is getting some votes too. They seem to be the top 3 in the voting, from what I've seen and from what I've heard. But I think this series goes 7. I'm going to pick Philly. I think Philly will pull this one out. Toronto's going to give them hell. I mean, because they're just scrappy. And Nick Nurse is a great coach. A great coach. He gets the most out of those players. And I honestly think he's a better coach than Doc Rivers is. But I think it's nothing against Doc. Nothing against Doc. I mean, Doc is all right too. But Joel Embiid, I think he's looking like he's on a mission. They can survive with him kind of doing his thing in the middle. Now, when they get to the later rounds, James Harden's going to have to show up, and he cannot run away from the moments. He cannot run away from the clutch moments there. But I think he can give enough to help Philly get out of this series. So I have the Sixers in 7. I would not be surprised to see Toronto pull this out. But I'll go Philly in 7 for this one.
Yeah, I will say this is an interesting, but it's basically interesting based on matchup and past history. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they're great picks with y'all going with Philly. But you know my past, Charles, and every time I go against my gut. Sometimes, man, look at Green Bay. Look at what Green Bay did to me last year.
It happens to the best of us, Patrick.
So, I mean, how do you have that number 1 ranked offense and number 1 ranked defense and still lose in the first round?
Hey,
that's Green Bay.
I'm a 49er fan, and I went against the 49ers in that game. So yeah, you can't tell me anything. I mean, I felt like they could beat Green Bay, but I didn't know if they were going to do it. But
it's good picks. I mean, you can't go wrong with this round on those two. Those are both good picks, and they're good teams. And like I said, Ben Simmons, when you got cancer out of your system, man, you tend to just do better.
Yeah,
I guess the question is James Harden a lesser form of the cancer? But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Another topic for another day.
All right.
Because let's be honest, we about to rant.
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this series since it's set now. With the Brooklyn Nets beating the Cleveland Cavaliers in the play-in game, they get the number 7 seed, and they get the Boston Celtics in the first round, 2-7 matchup. Now, a lot of people will say Brooklyn is one of the most potent 7 seeds that you will ever see with the scoring punch that they have with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But Boston has been balling since the All-Star break. I said break. With they've been the opposite of the Bulls, which we talked about earlier. The Bulls kind of faltering a little bit in the All-Star break. Well, the Celtics were one of the best teams. Them and the Phoenix Suns, they have been playing the best ball out of anybody really since the All-Star break. And now they're the 2nd seed. Who do y'all have in this one? We will start. I guess this is the 3rd. Okay, so Patrick, who do you have in
Boston
this?
in 5.
Boston in 5. Okay.
Nothing needs to be said. I mean, I'm dead serious. There's nothing about that Brooklyn team. Yes, I hear a lot of, they're a potent 7 seed. Not with the way Boston's been balling. Tatum, Brown, 5. Got it.
Who do you have, Stan?
I want to really, really disagree with Patrick. I really do. Like everything tells me, I'll disagree because I think I'm more so wanting to see Brooklyn finally do what they were built to do and come through and win. But man, like the struggle's real for them. I mean, you can't.
They can't stop anybody, man.
You can't be as potent as you need to be with the weapons you got and coming in, 7. I mean, it doesn't say a whole lot from you. I just don't have a lot of confidence in that. So I'm with you. I think Boston, they're rolling, they're hot, they play better team ball, right, on both sides. So I'm giving it to Boston. I don't really see Brooklyn, putting too much of a fuss. Yeah, they can score, but they got to be able to stop the ball too. So I give it to them. I give it 6 though. I expect them to get a couple. So I'm gonna say 6 for Boston.
So the funny thing is, I say Brooklyn is potent, but I mean, damn, everybody can score in the league these days. So really, is that an advantage?
True.
We know what Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are capable of doing on the offensive side of the ball. That both of those guys can drop 50 on your head really quick. But Boston also has two dudes that can drop 50 on your head. I mean, Jason Tatum, this dude, I think I would give him some votes for MVP too. I mean, with the way Boston is, the way they've been playing and the way he's been scoring the ball. Yeah, Tatum is a beast. Jaylen Brown is good, but yeah, the edge is Boston's defense. They have guys that can hockey. Brown is a really good defender. Tatum is an underrated defender, and I'm forgetting somebody. Okay, yeah, Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart
is a good, yeah.
He been getting some consideration for defensive player of the year too. Like he gets after you. Now they're hurting in the middle because their dude Robert Williams is out. They don't know when he's gonna come back. You know, that was their rim protector in the middle, but Boston still, they got some people there that could do it. I got Boston winning the series too, and I'm with Stan in the 6.
I want to say this real quick because you brought up Smart, and I've been watching him since he was at Oklahoma State. I mean, he's turned into that bad boy, man. He's kind of found his role, and I think it's gonna be tough. He's gonna be that annoying cat that's gonna bug people, and I like it. I do. I like it. So.
I remember those days when Marcus Smart was in Oklahoma State, and he a Texas product too. He went to Flower Mound Marcus up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Marcus Smart been. Yeah, I agree with you, Stan, on that whole comment. He has been kind of getting into that role, and he's finally looking real comfortable being that pest that annoys on defense. Patrick, you were shaking your head. Did you have something smart to say? I know you did.
No, I was agreeing with you. I like what you said about Smart. I was just doing 5 because y'all said 6, and I still think.
Nah, it's all good. But yeah, so okay, we're all in agreement there. Boston winning this series, so they'll move on. And then I guess whoever gets the 8th seed, they will meet up with the Miami Heat, who's the number 1 seed. Now, I'll throw this out there before we move on to the West. It will either be Cleveland, Atlanta, or Charlotte. I think Miami handles Cleveland and Charlotte. If they get the Hawks, that is going to be a great series to me, man. I don't know. I mean, I think Miami has enough to be able to pull that series out, but Atlanta, man, with Trae Young and
they're getting
John
right
Collins and those boys,
they're getting right at the right time.
Yeah,
they are. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd probably give the edge to Miami over that series too. But man, Atlanta is getting right at the right time.
So Stan, did you have anything to add to it before we moved on to the West?
You know, like I'm just smiling because that's my Heat, sitting on top over there, and I still feel. I said it last year. I still feel like that whole COVID thing, them getting to where they got to in the run. I think they left a taste in their mouth, man. They ain't forgot. They want to prove some things.
That's the reason why they're one in the Eastern Conference. That's the reason why they're one in a very deep Eastern Conference. I agree with you 100%. But they are a good team. That's the reason why they're one. That's the reason why they got the Milwaukee Bucks at 3 from a defending champions.
Yeah.
So no, I agree with you 100%. I think me and Charles, the only thing we're saying is out of those teams that are in the Atlanta could give them the hardest time.
Oh yeah, sure. I think if we get to see that, that's going to be a phenomenal series. It really will be.
So Stan is saying Miami is not bubblelicious. They got a legit team, and they gonna do something. I mean, Miami, they are. I do think they're probably being a little bit overlooked. A lot of people are looking at Milwaukee, and then Brooklyn. Brooklyn was your number 1 favorite out in Vegas to win the championship. I never saw that because of what both of y'all pointed out with their terrible defense. No rim protection at all, and they don't even have good perimeter defenders anyway. So it's just, I didn't see that. But Miami just kind of quietly going about their business. They got the pedigree. Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the league. In the league, he is. And, they got a good core there. I know a lot of people were talking about the dust up they had. Jimmy Butler, I guess, starting to fight Eric Spoelstra. And then Udonis Haslem got in his face. Yeah. Look, scraps happen. Scraps happen. It's okay. It's good for the soul. So with that, y'all, let's move on to the Western Conference. So we know 2 series are set. We'll start with the 3-6 matchup, which is the Golden State Warriors and the Denver Nuggets. Now, this series has a lot of question marks in it. First one, when is Steph Curry going to return? We don't know if he's going to be ready for game 1 of this series, which I think is Saturday. Denver, is Jamal Murray going to come back? What's the deal with Michael Porter Jr.? So there's a lot of question marks going on with this series. Stan, who do you have in this one coming out? This 3-6 matchup?
Man, I think it's like you said, with the injuries going into it, I think it's about sustainability, right? Who can still carry forward. And with I think it's Golden State. I think they've got folks that can still carry a series until their guys back and good to go. I don't think it's going to be pretty either way, just because of injuries. But I'll give them the edge. I think it'll be tight though. I don't think Warriors get away unscathed until Steph is back doing his thing.
So you got in 6.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 6.
All right, Patrick, what say
you? Like you said, way too many question marks, man. The only thing I give the Warriors the edge in is experience, and they've been here. They're battle tested, and I got Golden State, but I got Golden State in 7, and it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be the ugliest series. There's going to be so many fouls. There's going to be so many penalties. There's going to be technical fouls everywhere. It wouldn't be surprised if you see crap getting thrown on the court. I mean, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be the ugliest win. Steph Curry ain't going to get
thrown on the court.
Huh?
You said crap being thrown on the court.
Crap's going to be thrown on the court. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly, but I got Golden State in 7. Experience alone.
All right, so full disclosure here, before the season started, I had Denver coming out the West. Now this was with a healthy team. I felt Jamal Murray would be back. Michael Porter Jr., he was a guy from last year's playoff run they had who was coming into his own, and they have a good coach in Michael Malone as well. So I was really high on Denver coming in here. Now, hey, Jokic, we know this dude is a triple-double machine as a big man. He's gonna. I don't think Golden State has an answer for him, but Golden State probably does if they are able to get Steph Curry back. Especially, they just have more firepower, and I'm with Patrick on the experience factor as well. So, I'll go Golden State here. 6. I'll go 6 games too. And then we'll see what happens with these matchups, because I mean the Clippers and Timberwolves are playing right now, and they're the 7 and 8. The Spurs and Pelicans will play tomorrow, and then we'll see what happens with those matchups. But yeah, Golden State, I gotta have them coming out in 6. And then the 4-5 matchup. So another question mark here. So you got Dallas. The Mavericks, they will play the Jazz. Luka Doncic, strained calf. No timetable for his return. And then you have the Jazz, who, I mean, they have a squad. We know they were number 1 last year. They're good offensively, good defensively, but you don't know what they're going to do in the playoffs. They seem to just crack under the moment in the playoffs. So this one was assuming that Luka. My bad. I guess I'll go ahead and go first on this one. I'm sorry, but
by all means.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, assuming Doncic is healthy, I think I still would have leaned Utah's way because I just got to see it from Dallas to where they can get out of the first round. And we know Doncic is good. We know he is good enough to have those games where he can carry the Mavericks to a few wins. But can they get out of the first round facing a Utah team that Dallas is better this year? I still think Utah is a little bit more well-rounded than them as a team. You have Donovan Mitchell who can kind of match the scoring punch that Doncic can provide, and then Rudy Gobert is in the middle as well. So this series I think was gonna go 7 games, and I have Utah win in this series in 7 games. I would like to see Dallas win. Don't get me wrong. I've never really been a fan of the Jazz, but I know the Jazz do have a pretty good roster there. And I think it'll be a little bit too much for Dallas to get out of here. So, yeah, I got Utah in 7, but I would love to be wrong about that. So, what you got, Patrick?
Well, as you were saying, Luka is out. Don't know when he's coming back. I do think that he will come back game 3, truthfully, even with a strained calf. And this is the reason why, because Utah will be up 2-0. I do have Utah winning in 6, but I do see Luka coming back in game 3 because of that.
Stan, are you gonna make it a clean sweep for Utah here, or are you gonna go Dallas route?
I got some caveats, right?
All right.
I agree with it going the distance. I think it's going to be 7 games. I think Dallas is going to try to sustain as long as they can to give Luka time to return. I think we're going to see him this series for sure. Game 3 is a great guess at when that might be, because I don't know how long they're going to keep him out, and they're going to do their best to keep the games rolling so that he has an opportunity to play, because of course that's what they need, right? And it depends on his health in that point. If he comes back and he's somewhat healthy, then they can get that edge, I believe. But if he's not, him not being 100% for them and really being able to help them, yeah, I'm going to tilt it to Utah. But I think an interesting point that I was just looking at was the fact that they're both strong at home, right? They got identical home records, so it's going to make for a good series. But I'm giving it to the Jazz. I think it's going to go the distance, though.
All right. So we all pretty much agreed. I think it was the Sixers Raptors series we went a little bit off, but the rest of the series, I think we were all
for that.
Huh?
I apologize for that.
Why?
Because I'm the only one that went Toronto.
Oh, you're okay, man. Because I almost went Toronto too, so it's okay. Oh man. Well, so man, we'll see how the rest of the matchups. Of course, the number 7 seed. Whoever wins this Clippers Timberwolves game, they will match up with the 2-seeded Memphis Grizzlies. So Memphis coming through big time, man. Big jump from the number 8 seed last year to the 2 seed this year. And of course, the 8 seed, they will get the Phoenix Suns. A lot of people think Phoenix is the favorite now. And we know at the beginning of the year, Brooklyn and the Lakers, I guess, were the favorites out in Vegas. But now it is Phoenix. A lot of people think Phoenix is looking like that team that just can't be stopped. I'm not ready to go that far yet with Phoenix. I mean, they're good. They will be difficult to deal with. But, oh, shoot, we got Antoine in here. All right. So you say, I like it. All right, Jazz in 6, Grizzlies 4-0 victory, whoever. You high on the Grizzlies, man. I don't know if they go 4-0. Well, hold up. Who would that? So they play the Clippers or Timberwolves? All right, he might not be far off.
He might
not be far off.
He got Grizzlies in 4. I'd take Grizzlies in 5. Because I don't really think it matters at that.
The Grizzlies are playing good, and they just got Ja Morant back too, man. The Grizzlies are looking tough there. So we'll see, man. All right. Well, before we move on to the other topics, who do y'all have in the NBA Finals? So we'll start with you, Stan. We'll start with you.
Oh
man, I think it's gonna be Heat Grizzlies, man.
Heat and Grizzlies, okay.
I think it's gonna be Heat Grizzlies showdown, and I'll be ready for it.
Man, what you got, Patrick?
Dang, Heat and Grizzlies like that. Okay,
I like that. I like that matchup. I like that.
I think it'd be a good series. I'm half with Stan on this one. Grizzlies and Celtics.
Grizzlies and Celtics. Okay, all right. I like these choices. All right, man. Hey, I'm going. Okay. If Steph Curry comes back healthy, Warriors Bucks is who I have. Warriors Bucks. The Grizzlies are young, man. I like their team. They are very, very scrappy, but man, I don't know if they get into the finals. I don't know. They could though.
Let's put it this way, man. This is their year if they're going to do it.
Yeah.
This is their year they're going to do it. They better put some experience under their butts and play. That's what they better do, because I don't see the Western Conference this easy next year. I just don't.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know that, like, the West, I just think the East has come through. Like there seems to be more depth in the Eastern Conference this year, and we haven't been able to say that about the East in years. It's been a while
since we've
been able to say that about the East. But there's a lot of depth in that conference. I like. I ain't gonna lie, I like Patrick's Boston pick. I do. Like Boston, I'm really high on Boston too. We actually, so Stan, you missed it. We actually did a show last week talking about the section was called Bite or Bark. And we picked 4 teams out there to see who could bite, or which one was just about that bark, that talking.
Mm.
We both had Boston on the bite category. Like, yeah, they could make it.
They had it. No, we had them with Pac-Man fever.
Yeah,
they are biting on everything.
Well, all right, man. Well, hey, let's get to these few topics here. So let's start with more dysfunction with the Washington Commanders. So apparently they are under yet another investigation here. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me see. So Antoine had another comment here. So he got Milwaukee and Phoenix. But he got Phoenix winning this year, getting revenge on the Bucks. And CP3 retires after the win.
It'll probably be about time for that.
And he doesn't think the West is easy, Patrick. He had to sit there. He made that question mark. He's like, "What? West easy?"
Okay.
I think it's changed though, because the West was they were dominant, right? And
they're just not as dominant.
The East have been building for a while. Like they've been putting pieces together for a while. I thought Atlanta was going to come out last year and peak. They didn't. So there's a few, and the Suns have been sitting out there camping for a minute, building. I thought they were going to be there along with Portland, and I don't even know what happened to Portland, but
it's injured.
It's just different. Yeah, it's different.
So Twan said, "You think you got Boston beating Milwaukee?" Now, look, me personally, Twan, I have Milwaukee going to the finals. So, like I said, my matchup is Milwaukee and Golden State. That's my matchup. Patrick has Boston.
Now, to make it a little bit clearer, just so you know, yes, I do think that the West is easy, but that's in comparison to the way they've been for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
They are easier this year than they have been in the past 10 years. So you have to understand from that perspective. I'm just looking at it. I see the West coming back to doing what they did in the past 10 years with that moving into next year. So,
all right, man.
I don't really think that they're the easiest, but it is easier in comparison to any years before.
Yeah, it's not as deep. Like, I guess that would be the best way I could put it. Like the West isn't as deep because it used to be there was one year where you had 1 through 8 separated by 7 or 8 games. Like the
Yeah.
West was
There was
Yeah.
years where you had 10 teams above 500 in the West.
like 15 games above 500.
And
Yes.
3 years ago,
It's not
no
like
one out of the East would have made the playoffs against the West.
Yeah.
It was just one off record.
Absolutely not. When you when
Yeah.
you look at 6, 7, and 8 below 500 in the East getting into the playoffs, that's a problem. And
Yeah.
you're looking at 12 teams that's above 15 games above 500, and you're like, who's in and who's out? Ooh, you know, it was just unbelievably one-sided on the Western Conference. It just was. I think it balanced out a little bit, and that's the reason why I think LeBron went to the West, because he knew he. So now he should be coming back to the East coming next year, so that because the West is probably going to be really dominant again, so he's got to move over to the East so he can live that simple life.
Let's move on to the Washington Commanders and Twan. Hey, Twan, we weren't talking about your Bulls. All right, so another full disclosure. Twan's from Chicago, so he's going to be partial toward the Bulls. But hey, the Bulls, I'll say this, Twan, Bulls have a good up-and-coming team. Way wrong matchup for them in the first round, though. They going out. Milwaukee's putting them out.
Hey, and what did I say? I said that's probably going to be one of the most exciting first-round games. Just saying.
For 5 games. But
I said 6, but you said 5.
But no, all right, man. So hey, we're gonna get to these other topics here. Twan, man, good to see you coming in here, showing up with the comments, man. Keep them coming. Yeah, the Commanders again being investigated. This time it's gotten to Congress, and for the lack of a better word, they've been pocketing money that you're not supposed to pocket. They've been holding on to ticket revenue for a decade, according to testimony that's going on. I'm like, dog, y'all stealing money now. Look, I'll just ask this question. I'm pretty sure we can all agree Daniel Snyder needs to go. He needs to sell the team. They've been in complete turmoil. They've had 2 name changes. That should tell you everything right there. Like, these dudes, they were team generic for
and that's when they did the best.
Yeah.
You give them a name and they fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm offended by that. They should change their name again.
They should change their name again. They don't like the Commanders.
But I don't like Washington. I think they should change their state.
Change the state, but they're in a district.
Oh, well, then change the state. You know what I mean.
I mean, they play in Maryland. You're right, but I see what you said. But
Ship them to London. That's the team that needs to go to England. Get them out of here.
There you go.
But is it? I'll just ask this question: what is it going to take to get Daniel Snyder out of here? This dude is a terrible owner, and I don't understand. Look, if you're Ron Rivera, the head coach, I get it. I hear him talking. He puts out all the right messages, talking about, man, we can only control what we can control. You know, we can take care of things by winning. But man, if you got terrible leadership at the top, that just filters on down toward the rest of the, not just the team, but everyone in the front office, social media department, scouting department. I'm just like, man, God, we doing our job, but man, we got this garbage owner. So I don't know, man. It's time for him to go. And this right here, I don't know. It's the NFL, so I mean, he's kind of in that fraternity with the owners, so they'll probably do everything they can to try to sweep it under the rug so he keeps the team. But this right here, man, I think it's time for him to go. You gotta go, man. We pocketing money. We hiding ticket revenue. What thoughts? Please help me. I don't want to continue to just go on.
He's just as corrupt as that IRS. And you know how I feel about IRS. Don't get me started.
We won't, Patrick. We'll just say that it's on your top 4. Well, okay, I'm with you on a few of them too. The top
You're with the
organizations that are coming
IRS
up.
too.
Yeah.
Wrong. I'm not going to go pocketing money from my businesses or anything like that.
Ugh.
But I mean, as far as it goes as an owner, yes, he needs to go. But who's going to kick him out?
Like, they're not even refunding security deposits. Like, it's that bad. Like, my goodness.
You bought insurance. Shame on you. Good for me, but shame on you.
Stan, what you got to add to this, man?
So
I mean, I know they kind of playing y'all division there.
Oh, look. So listen, I agree with you. There needs to be an ownership change, but this is what I've seen. When you're right, he's part of the NFL fraternity of owners, but when they decide they want to make a change, this is the kind of stuff that happens, right? These things, these allegations, these little findings, it ain't like they didn't know. Come on, man.
Yep.
They like it's that time. It's your time. It's his time, and it's gonna keep going until they get something that's gonna stick. Right? Trust me. We've seen it. We've seen it in NBA. When it's your time, they gonna make it, and they gonna hang you out there. But before that, they stick together tight.
Hey, he better find him a good fall guy.
A good fall guy. What are we, Chris Carter now?
They feel like out there he's losing everybody. He's losing fans. He's losing all kinds of everything, and it hurts the NFL.
Hell, he's even lost his name. Can't even keep the Redskins anymore. He's losing everything.
So man. I think this is just his avenue out the door.
Look.
Hopefully,
for one,
hopefully.
I like the WTFs. I did. Like, I would have rolled with that. I would have marketed the hell out of that. Like, could you just imagine the marketing that would have went in there? Let's say they're playing the Cowboys, and you're one of these networks that are out here marketing the game between Dallas and Washington.
Welcome to Monday Night Football, where we got the Dallas Cowboys versus the WTFs.
No. Just say that. Look, you know what? I would just say the word. Screw it. Just be like, hey, yo, Cowboys versus the Fs. Yay! Let's get it. Let's get it. And look, it would be part of the name. It's not like, now look, okay, ESPN will probably blurt that out too, because they blurted out this man flicking the fans off and he got 4 fingers. So I get it. Like, they like, you go to that, I still can't get over that. I don't know. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's move on to this next topic. So this one's about Cam Newton. And Cam Newton, I guess, got loose on a webcast, or not a webcast, a podcast, and had this comment about women, basically saying, I'll read it, so because I'm reading the story here. So basically, it says this. I'll read these few paragraphs here. It says the 32-year-old free agent quarterback on the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast complained about women who, quote, can't cook and don't know when to be quiet. So one of the quotes that came out of there was, yes, he said this. So here's a quote from him. It says, now a woman, for me, is handling your own, but knowing how to cater to a man's needs, right? Newton said on the podcast. And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of like, I'm a boss bee, I'm this, I'm that. No, baby, you can't cook. You don't know when to be quiet. You don't know how to allow a man to lead. He said all this on the podcast. Look, all I can say is, Cam, it almost seems like he's trying to stay relevant now. Like, I don't know. Now, Twan, he says it's taken out of context. And so, Twan, help us out. Help us out. See where we're taking this out of context. I mean, because the man came out of his mouth. Now, look, if he's trying to say there's a little bit of fake there, I can kind of understand it. But those comments sound like something that you would say like back in the day.
And we all know Cam Newton. He ain't saying it sarcastically.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, the only thing that was sarcastic was that flop that 1 year when he was at quarterback.
Stop.
No, we all know he ain't sarcastic. I watched that man play football for years and watched his interviews for years, and that man ain't sarcastic.
It's not. So let's see. All right. So Antoine, he's helping us out here. So let's read his comment here. I watched the whole interview and he compared with. All right. I guess I understand that. All right. I got you. Like I said, now I just seen the story there. So I was just kind of looking at these quotes and I was like, man, Cam, come on, man.
Okay. Now I got a question. Where'd you get the quotes from? The Bleacher Report.
The quotes were on. They came from that $1 million worth of game podcast.
So they made the quotes. You didn't get them off of like Bleacher Report or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. And so yeah, they were on there. I'm just reading the story that came out with it from your numerous outlets there. I didn't see the podcast. I didn't hear the podcast myself. Twan telling us he's seen the whole interview. So, all right. Yep. Okay. Because now that is good, because the thing is, the stories don't mention that part. You don't mention the part where I guess he's talking about the mom and the grandma. Now, what I will say also is, you know, Cam does have he got some history of saying some stuff about women. We remember that press conference when he was talking about routes. Mm-hmm. So this isn't. That's the one thing I'll say with Cam. Not the first time that he done kind of said some things about women and their quote unquote place there. All I'm saying is, if you're Cam, I mean, you gotta kind of watch. You gotta kind of watch the stuff that you're saying here, man. And you know, people love to take things out of context. And so I wanted to go ahead and let you know me. I'm gonna bring it on here just so we can discuss it. You know.
Well, and if we all know how Cam is, right? We all do. We've watched him for years in his interviews and how he likes to discuss women in a way, right? Now, if one is talking that, you know, it was out of context, and you know, but you know how everybody is in today's social medias and in today's medias in general, they all about the clickbait. And maybe it was just a way to just get clickbait off of what Cam said and boost ratings. You know, obviously it worked, or we wouldn't be talking about it. You see what I'm saying? So, all right, I'll leave it at that. I mean, if Tuan watched the whole thing, I mean, that's more information than I got. So I respect that, and I can roll with that. I don't have a problem with that. So if it's just clickbait, it's just clickbait, and that's why people are.
Yes, definitely. Clickbait it's that hot thing now. Let's go ahead and get that headline out there, and so you get the people looking at it like, "Oh shoot, what did he say?" Like, look, okay, so I'll give you the headline just on that note. So the headline said this. Now, this is according to ESPN here.
Oh God.
Cam criticizes women who can't cook. Be quiet.
Oh God!
Now, yeah.
Trash that because ESPN said it.
So that was the headline. So I mean, oof. It was like, really?
Leave it to ESPN to keep the load faster than they should.
That one, I could definitely see where that would be misleading for sure. Look, I ain't gonna sit there and lie. I was like, what? Because that's what I saw. I was like, what? He said they can't cook. What does that have to do with anything? All right.
Well, leave it to ESPN to do that.
Wow. Stan, man, do you have anything to add before we move on?
Man, so like you said, it's Cam. Not to make an excuse that he is who he is, but even in that, man, even in this day, like that message he's trying to convey, he can say it very, very different, right?
Yes,
He could talk about
especially
his
today.
own personal. I keep meeting women that want to be in positions, but I like them to be able to be versatile and cooking, and there's he could have said a whole kind of other ways, but that's what he grew up with. I get it, but man, you have to be careful, regardless of your intent, right? You still got to know. He knows he's on a podcast. He knows people are gonna hear it. He knows he's gonna be recorded. Like, man, there's always a way to get your message out, cleanly, right? And even then, you might get people
100%
that's
agree.
going to scrutinize it, but you could save a little bit of face, even if that was your message, what you're trying to say. That's just
Absolutely, 100% agreed. Well
It,
put.
yeah, it's just rough, man. Because the thing is, he's a public figure, and he's out there. He done played football, in some of these years at a high level. He was an MVP one of these years, so I mean, he's gonna have a lot of eyes and ears on him. Yeah, it just goes back to what we say about just like people in general who have that type of platform. These people will be quick to say, "Oh man, I don't care. I'm not a role model." Blah blah. Well, the thing is, whether you want to be a role model or not, you're a role model to somebody. Somebody is paying attention to everything that you said. There are people who look up to Cam Newton and say, "Hey man, I kind of want to be on that platform. I want to be able to play at an MVP level like he has accomplished." So, in knowing that, you do have to be a little bit cognizant of what you are saying out there, and you can't, it like you said, Stan, there's a way to get your message out there to where you're not looked at as a guy, because look, you might let that person down. You might, that a person who might be looking up to you, they hear you say that, oh man, like I'm not gonna be cool with that. And then of course they say they're not a role models and they don't worry about all that stuff, but these are the same people who are all up on social media putting pictures out here trying to take care of their image. So we know they care. So, oh shoot.
Oh, I guess Stan got tired.
We lost Stan. Oh shoot. Well, hopefully he comes back. Let's see. Okay, okay. So we got him back. Got him back. Add him back. Come on, Stan. And so let's see. The one more comment from Twan. He said he also stated, "I'm not calling women bees, but the ones he met have made it a stigma to call themselves boss bees when you talk about them." That's true too. There are that is true. That women, there are women out there who do say they are boss bees, and I think, okay, now we're on a deeper conversation here,
Yeah, much
because
deeper.
because you got people, um name the word, name the word, not words that have been used to uh stroke some anger up, words that have been emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Some people have turned that around and tried to make it to a way where you cannot give the person that power to use the word in a derogatory manner.
Mm-hmm.
So this is definitely one of those things where it's that slippery slope there. If women are gonna take that word and call themselves boss bees, be kind of hard to get mad at somebody when they're calling that word themselves, because people will look at that and say, well, they're using it, so why can't I use it? Not saying that it's right, but that's how people look at things. So it's just, I don't know. To me,
You gotta change that perspective. You know what I'm saying?
if I don't want to get called the word, then I don't want to use it myself. That's kind of how I deal with it.
I agree with that.
I can't speak
That
for
right
anybody
there,
else, but
that is well put. And that's what I was gonna say. Because I mean, there in every race has it. Every race has it. Every race has a word that you will, you can refer. To me, I just call them ignorant words. That's what they are. They're ignorant words, and you just show how ignorant you are when you use them. There you go. That's it.
Anything to add on that, Stan, before we move on?
No, I mean, I don't disagree. I've always been a proponent about not giving power to stuff like that. But again, I'll go back to I am a person that can understand where he was trying to go, and I'm not going to try to out the dude for that. But I also look at it like you've got to be cognizant, right? And your messaging and your phrasing. Yeah, you have to be. That's just the position he's in, regardless if he wants it or not. That's just where he is, and this is what's going to happen. I mean, that's the life he's in right now. There's not much you can do about that. And not trying to say, how he phrased it or anything like that, make excuses for the guy. I'm not doing that because I wouldn't put the message out that way. I wouldn't do that. But you can convey what he was trying to convey very differently.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Not to put
without using any words, without using any of those words, he could have done it. Yes, absolutely.
Perception is reality to a lot of these people, and so if you go ahead and you say something like that, then they're just going to go with that reality and say.
And that's just what we got to be cognizant of that. That's just where we are right now. That's just where society is, right or wrong, agree or not agree. That's just where we are, right? We got to know that, and you got to pay attention to it. I'm not saying you can't disagree. People disagree all the time with it.
That's what makes
right
the world beautiful.
I'm not one to tell you that, but you just got to know that this is what's going to happen.
Yep, it's true. It's true.
Well, I think Stan said it very well. I mean, if Cam Newton ever would just listen to what Stan said, I mean, obviously there's certain things that you just got to be aware of. And I always tell people, I never give advice. I will never give you advice. I'll give you my opinion, and I will give it to you as personal and professional as I possibly can, but I never give advice. I'll give you an opinion, and you take it for what it's worth.
All right. Well, let's get a quick little lesson in taking responsibility before we get out. So this one happened in baseball. So game between the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. There's a third baseman named Alec Baum. He was having a terrible game last night. 3 errors he had. And
I watched 2 of
them. And Philly fan, as Philly fans do, they let him have it. They were booing him, let him have it. And then my man Baum dropped the F-bomb, talking about he hates this place. So he said he hates this place. And then Philly, they came back and they won the game. They started cheering. Baum was asked about it. I guess the video had circulated. It doesn't take long in our cell phone social media world. The quote, I effing hate this place, was all over the place. They asked him about it. And my man said, hey, look, I let my emotions get the best of me. I'm sorry. But hey, I was having a bad game. And hey, they'll cheer us if we're doing good. But he took responsibility for his terrible game. He got caught up in the moment too. Where this is a lesson in responsibility is you see him saying, you know what, hey man, I got caught up in the moment. I apologize. I was just frustrated as having a bad game. He owned up to saying the F-bomb, didn't try to make some BS excuse. He was all right. It's better than what I can say about some of these players right now, Lakers.
Not to put anybody out or anything.
That you talk about S show right there. My gosh. But it's not about the Lakers or whatever. All I'm saying is this. If you just own up to your stuff, man, and just admit truths and things that come out, man, look, you can apologize. This is a forgiving public. People, they will understand because, I mean, we've all been there. I don't know how many countless F-bombs I have said at work or wherever.
How about on this show with me?
Well, Patrick, you're normally the one saying the F-bombs. I just kind of hold my head down.
You're dropping them all. Hey, man, there was a dude on here that got me 2 minutes into the show, and I was dropping them. I was lit up.
Stan, now remember, Patrick says he wants to get mean tweeted. I was like, Patrick, you can't even take this dude.
Back. Let's be honest. I was ready to trash talk this dude right off the show.
But yeah, I mean that's all I'm saying. Hey, if you mess up, take responsibility for those actions and move on. We all make mistakes. We all have times that we're not particularly happy about, and it's just about taking those things and learning from them and moving on. Now, I'm sure if he has 3 errors in the game again, then Philly fan will be right there to boo again. We know that about it.
Well, at least he'll know his mistake and not make the same one.
Right.
He might say, "I hate the damn place" instead of the F-bomb,
Stan, we'll give you the last word, man. Anything to add to that before we hop on out?
No, I think in this day and age too, we're seeing more and more because of social media and how quickly things get out. Folks are human, man. They are gonna make mistakes. In the same sense as what I was saying about Cam, right? Is
Go ahead, Stan. I got Jonathan. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry, I haven't seen Jonathan in a while, man. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, he comes out of this missing persons report every 6 months. Go ahead.
We have to send the cops to his house so they'd be like, "Hey, get back on the show so we know where you're at."
Oh
man,
so Stan, he's an Oklahoma fan, so he's always trying to say, never mind, you still get 95% of your roster from the state of Texas. Remember that, Jonathan. How many of your players come from the state of Texas?
Exactly.
Remember that. So Stan, we call Oklahoma North Texas. That's NORF. North.
Yes, we call Oklahoma Texas North. Y'all might as well be part of. We might as well be part of. They might as well be part of Texas anyway. They get all the players out of there. So I mean, come on now. They know where the wins are.
Okay. Hey, he won't say nothing about Georgia. Come on, say it. Say it. All I gotta say is 1-0.
No, but but real quick before I get out, also, so Jonathan's talking about Texas and all that. Now, look, I guess when they go through to Oklahoma, then they become major crybabies. Look at Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray crying about contracts and crying about being off the teams. So look, it's funny because he comes in here an hour after the show. Great time in there, Jonathan. Is a good thing.
Hey, at least he showed up.
At least he showed up. I'm good. I'm glad.
It took him a little while. What, 2 months?
Yeah, we'll look for him 6 months from now.
Yeah, 2 hours. That's what I always say.
Well, on that note, y'all, he's still going. He's gonna be commenting. He's gonna hit us up. On that note, that will conclude the Breath of Fresh Air webcast. Y'all make sure y'all go to the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming on the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. Jonathan, thanks for coming in the last second, an hour late. Antoine, thanks for getting in there, throwing your comments in there. Hope y'all continue to come on in, keep it coming, and that goes for the rest of y'all as well. So until then, Stan, thanks for getting on the show with us for the NBA preview as well. And everybody, just have a good rest of the week. Y'all take it easy. Yes, Jonathan, I know you got basketball practice.
Man, we know, and we
know. And I'm not saying nothing about Boomer. No. Y'all take care, everybody. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk to you soon.